with any of you sons of bitches. Got
See, there we go. Welcome to the Jake Brown podcast. I apologize. I did not do an episode last week because I was sick.
Boo.
Boo. I know. And if the person who is responsible for me getting sick just happens to be listening, I forgive you. I'm not angry. I'm over it. It'll be fine. But the show must go on, and I'm happy, oh so happy. I have not only my first guest, but now my first repeat guest to
Yes.
give an update about how a certain trip to Italy went. Miss Mallory Dobbs. Welcome back to the
Happy
show.
to be back. Yeah.
I appreciate you on this dreary fucking Tuesday. God, it was just so nice.
It was nice yesterday. It was beautiful.
I know.
I got home and it was
amazing.
it was nice to be back in the United States, to be honest. I was only gone 9 days, but being out of the country is kind of a lot.
Well, look, you didn't know that I'm about to ask this question. And
Oh, no.
I debated whether or not I should ask it, but I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
When you first got over to Italy.
Did I not take a picture of the pizza?
No, not that.
Everybody's
not that.
mad at me because I didn't take a picture of the pizza. I took a picture of the box.
No, that's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with that. You posted a story to your Instagram, and you didn't seem very enthusiastic about being in Italy.
Okay.
So my question to you on behalf of all of my listeners around the world, literally, I have listeners all over the place. Why do you hate Italy? What did Italy do to you?
I hate Italy. Okay, did you not hear the story of what happened on the time before? So literally the morning I went to leave, I woke up and I had a sore throat. I woke up the morning I was leaving for Italy and I was like, great, love this for me. Because now I'm going to go travel for 13 hours and I'm not going to get any better.
Oh, that flight's brutal too.
Yep. So I flew from Seattle to Amsterdam. So that was like a 10-hour flight and I didn't have a window seat. And so I got one of those stupid little neck pillows that I hate so much.
Wait, you were in the middle?
I was on the end because it was like the plane that has 2 seats and then 4 seats and then 2 seats.
Okay.
So I was in the middle, it was the aisle. But it was, so I bought a stupid neck pillow. I was like prepped because I was like, all right, well, if I don't have the window seat, like I'm just going to use the little neck pillow thing. So I was trying to sleep on the plane and literally didn't sleep at all. So like my Fitbit tracked like an hour and 45 minutes of sleep in that whole, 11-hour flight.
Yikes.
I had a 4-hour layover in Amsterdam. And then,
hold on.
Yep.
Did you leave the airport?
No, heck no, I didn't. It wasn't that long.
I have to ask.
It wasn't that long of a layover and all the customs things take forever.
So here's what I heard about Amsterdam. Apparently, and I don't know if this is true or not. I'm sure someone will correct me. I heard that. Oh, don't do these. Remember how last time?
Sorry.
No. That was it's this. Apparently, customs isn't that big of a deal in Amsterdam. I don't know.
They were proactive about it. Like they were asking people like what time their flights were, so that way they could like run through the line. So they were like, if you have a flight like right away, we'll like pull you through. But otherwise, I mean, it still took me probably like 45 minutes to an hour to get through like the line. My
friend found, so people have done this research, and there is a 20-minute route from the airport that takes you directly to a marijuana cafe.
Of course, they've done the research for that.
It's a straight shot back to the airport.
Right.
So in theory, you could be gone for a couple hours and still,
well,
and still make it back.
JP was saying that they have like lockers there, so you can like put your stuff in a locker and then leave the airport and go take the little the tram or bus or whatever, and then go there and get back. But I was a little bit worried about the whole thing, so like without knowing anything about the like airport or how long it takes or anything, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna hang out here.
I don't blame you.
So
I don't blame you.
Then I hung out there, and then there was like these, like I sat at this little cafe and just like did some work, and then I was sitting at like a big enough table that these like random old guys came over and were like, can we sit here? Well, at first they talked to me in some other language, and I was like, English, and then started talking to me. They're like, oh, and then they like talked to me in another language. Yeah. So, but yeah, so apparently my experience was better in Amsterdam than what Don's experience was in Frankfurt. Because he said Frankfurt was not a good airport to go through customs, and he only had like a hour and a half, 2 hour layover, and it was almost not enough time to make his his second flight. So
Yeah, I think my rule is I try to give myself at least 2 to 2.5
yeah,
hours
yeah, you kind of have to
because
because
you
like
never
the
know,
the customs thing is
especially
crazy.
going through London.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, I've had more issues going through London than anywhere
Yeah.
else. I've missed multiple flights.
It's so
So,
crazy. So
yeah.
yeah, so like I did all that and then I had to go then I landed in Italy, right? And then I had to get a rental car.
Where in
And
Italy?
I landed in Milan,
Okay.
Linate.
Hmm.
So I landed at that airport, got a rental car, and of course, okay. When you
Oh, here it comes,
yeah,
folks.
when you're at an airport
Uh
and
huh.
you're like you have baggage claim, typically the baggage claim is outside of the area that you leave the security spot, correct? Right?
I always carry. I don't
Oh,
check
okay.
bags.
Well,
I have no
anywho's
faith.
it.
But
Apparently,
yes, usually it's
it's
toward
after you
yeah,
like leave the security portion where they say, "Do not enter, don't come back, don't blah
yeah.
blah blah." Yeah, after that is normally what baggage claim is. So, sleep deprived, sick Mallory is walking out of the airport trying to find the way around the Italian airport, and I like didn't look to the left when I went straight towards the exit because there was no signs for baggage claim or anything. And so I was like, "All right, well, it must be after the exit." So I went out of the exit and then get out there, and I'm like, I don't see baggage claim. Where's baggage claim? And I see the rental car spot and everything else. And I'm like, great. So now I don't know. And I don't know who to ask to like figure out because I have my gear bag. So I have to like go get it. And so then I go upstairs, talk to a guy, and he goes downstairs, push this button, they'll let you back through security. And I was like, okay. Well, the button is like this weird door on the side that like no one would know to push a button at this door, right? Like there's no push button here. Like, no, none of that. So the only other people I could approach to ask about the baggage claim were the armed guards in the airport, right? So fully uniformed people with like AKs just
Hmm.
chilling in the airport. And I was like, hi, some American here that didn't grab her bag from baggage claim would like to go grab her bag. And they were like, and I was like, baggage. And then like they could kind of speak English, but not great. And
Yeah.
so then, they like showed me where the button was to push. And then I talked to the lady. I was like, hey, I heard baggage claim is like back that way. And she just laughed at me. She's like, uh-huh. So I had to go back to this little security thing and go grab my bag.
Italy. More pictures, more signs.
Yeah. Something about baggage claim. Dumb Americans go that way. So I get my bag and then I go get my, rental. I like at this point it's like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Italy time, but I like teleport, like traveled through time, to get
Yeah.
there and get a rental car. And of course, my rental car is, which I knew already, was like a Fiat Panda manual. So because all our cars in Europe are manual cars. And I'm like, okay, like this will be fun, And I had like, of course, before I went, I Googled, do I have to drive on the right side of the road? Like, I don't know. And then luckily my Airbnb or like the little place I was staying was only like 10 minutes from the airport. So I didn't have to drive too far, sleep deprived
Yeah.
to go. Cause again, it's like, I've never been to this country. I don't
That's
know how
probably good.
anything works. Yeah. And it was like, there was like a roundabout with like a stop sign and a stoplight. And I'm like, does this mean I have to stop? I don't know. The light's green, but this says stop. And like, yeah,
There's so many little idiosyncrasies
it's just,
and
yeah.
yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, I'll try not to like panic and like it's fine.
Yeah.
So then I get to my Airbnb and then I'm like, okay, well now I'm just gonna like die now. But I was like, well maybe I should go get food. And I was like, well I don't want to leave the Airbnb and go walk around the city because it's dark and I don't know anybody or anything or whatever. So I just waited till the next morning. But yeah, it was a culture shock. It was my first time out of the country, and I had like a 105-day streak on Duolingo, which did me like zero
I
iota
know.
work for
Yeah.
anything. Because anytime I like go to talk to somebody, I'd panic, and I'm like, I don't remember any of the words I learned.
One thing I
Yeah,
figured out is if I tried to speak Italian, they would usually let me fumble
yep.
for maybe 5 seconds and then be
And then
like,
they're like, "What do you want?"
it's fine. Like
Yeah,
we speak English. But they always seem to
yeah,
appreciate at least the effort,
yeah.
as opposed to, a lot of fat, slobby Americans
Mm.
and or Canadians who just don't even bother trying.
Well, yeah.
So,
But, like, I went in so that I was in, like, kinda, like, not a touristy part of Italy, so it
uh,
was, like, kinda, like, outskirts of Milan. So all these people, like, not everybody there spoke English, and of
yeah.
course, so the next morning, I was, like, wanting to go get breakfast and coffee and whatnot. So I walk into, like, a cafe, which a cafe in Italy is a bar with
Mhm.
a coffee machine, right? Because all they do is get coffee. They don't eat breakfast there. I didn't know any of this stuff before I went there, right? So I'm, like, going into this place, and I'm like, and there's, like, no place to sit, right? Because it's, like, a bar with, like, 2 tables. There's just a bunch of old Italians, like, sitting around bullshitting. And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." So, like, I went into the first place and I was like, I just wanted to like eat. And then the guy was like, no, no English. And I was like, okay. So then he was like, sorry. And he like asked his customers if anybody spoke English, and none of them did. So I left that one, went to the next one, and that lady didn't speak any
No
English.
Google Translate?
I was like, at this point, it was like the first day, right? It's like the first day of being like, okay, like I don't know. But yeah, like Google Translate works, right? You could just like pull up Google Translate and like tell the person to like talk.
At least it'll get you a coffee.
Right. Well, and I know how to order a coffee and a cornetto. So, like,
Worst case, you
the
got a
first thing they
cappuccino
teach you on
coming.
Duolingo
Yeah.
is coffee and fucking croissant. So the second place I found, like, I got like a little coffee and whatnot because the one of the customers spoke English and he helped me. But I wanted food. And so
Yeah.
then like I'm sitting there and then I'm panicked because I'm like, well, what if they don't take a card? Because it looked like this older, kind of like rundown place that maybe only took euros, and I didn't have any. And I was like, fuck. So I'm like panicking, which they did. They took a card. But like mentally, it was just so much anxiety of just like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
I
So
found everywhere they preferred you to tap and
card,
then
yeah.
get out.
Yeah, so I have like tap to
Tap,
pay
get
on
out.
my Capital One with no like extra fees.
Yeah.
So then I went to a pizza place down the road because I was like, okay, I really want food, and it's like 11:30 at this point, which they don't like actually serve food until after noon. Like it's very structured. Like I think we feel like I don't think we know how spoiled we are that we can literally at any point of the day or night go and get food from any
Mhm.
place, like at all.
Yeah.
Because there's all these places that like don't have anything going on. They don't serve food until noon, like blah blah blah. So like this pizza place was open, but they were only serving like coffee,
Uh-huh.
and that was it. And then they were like, yeah, we don't serve till noon. The kitchen doesn't open till noon. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, so then I found a place that kind of like spoke English, like the lady at the like pizza place. So I ordered food there and I got a to go pizza. So I had dinner that night. So I didn't have to go back out and like adventure. Like I was just like,
Mm.
yeah. So Andrew was making fun of me because I was like very much like kind of in my own little, like I was doing some work, like working remote and like getting acclimated and just kind of hanging out
Yeah.
because none of the team was there until Thursday. And so it was very much like just trying to figuring out like what I was doing. But I hung out in the room on my own for a little bit because I just wasn't. I'm adventurous, but I found that I'm not adventurous when I'm on because I've never really traveled alone,
Mhm.
let alone to a whole nother country. So I
Yeah,
was like,
it's.
I don't know.
I mean, the first time I went to Italy was in 2022, and I went with a group, but they had initially gone to France,
Mm,
and I was like, I didn't really have any interest in going to France at that point.
yeah,
So I just went to Rome by myself for the first 3 days, and then they came and met up. But obviously, it's a little different being a guy
totally.
wandering around.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that I could just go wander these different alleys and find different restaurants and
Mhm.
just try all this amazing, I mean, amazing food.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, the city was very safe. I mean, any city has its sketchy
Yeah.
areas,
Totally.
but for the most part, I mean, if you're wandering alleys
Mhm.
at 11:30 at night in this country, it's usually not the best idea. But in Rome, it's like there's restaurants that are open,
Yeah.
there's seating out into the alley, there aren't cars driving through.
Yeah.
So it's just foot traffic.
Right.
And it was it took a little bit of getting used to.
Mhm.
The first day I was just like, what the hell is like what
Yeah.
you can just eat in the alley? Like it's clean here? Like it's actually clean. Like what's going on?
I mean, it's definitely interesting. Like, I mean, Italy was not the cleanest of place. I mean, it's old city, right? Like, it's a lot of the
Mhm.
older stuff, and it's like not necessarily the like cleanest, most inviting, like nice new buildings. So, like,
Mhm.
that's the thing is it was like kind of rural, and then like where there's like the touristy part of Milan, because like I did take the tram down, I take the subway down to Milan at one point, met up with my team,
Mhm.
and then Don and I went and ventured out and did some exploring on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's cool. I mean, it's pretty and the architecture is different. And it's definitely a lot different more in the touristy areas, but like also it's way more expensive because it's like, oh, it's a touristy area. So like the prices are way higher.
See, I didn't go to Milan. I can't. My friends went there
Yeah.
after I had come back home. They went they went that way. But I don't know, I thought like Rome and Naples were not really any more expensive than
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And in most cases were cheaper,
Mm,
honestly, from like a food standpoint. The stuff that I wanted to do. They
totally.
definitely kind of charge you up the ass for the tourist stuff, like
Yeah.
getting into the Colosseum and
Totally.
the like the Vatican, like those
Hmm.
tours and stuff like that. But just going out to like grab dinner,
Hmm.
you get so much fucking food.
Yeah.
It's like as much
Hmm.
food as you can stomach, plus
Totally.
dessert, plus wine.
Yeah.
And it was like $20,
Hmm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, this is probably a $60 meal back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it tastes way better,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, yes, very true. Some stuff they definitely, like anywhere, will take advantage. Try
Totally.
going to the fucking Space Needle.
Right.
Costs an arm and a leg to get in that
Oh my
place.
gosh. Yeah.
But you get off the beaten track a little
Yes.
bit, and it
Yeah.
wasn't. Hey, will you pass something on to Don too?
What?
Will you tell him to smile? Just like once in one picture.
I have pictures of him smiling. There are pictures of him happy.
That one picture of your
Yeah.
guys' team.
Well, it's so funny because
Yeah.
both the mechanics are like,
I know.
the
The most
we couldn't have
serious
picked, like, a
people.
better picture. Yeah, no, it's funny. I know.
So all right, so you meet the team. Well, you'd already met Maddie because
I met Maddie. She came here.
her
Yeah.
and her husband came out to
Mhm.
visit here,
Mhm.
but you hadn't met. And
My
I'm
teammate,
spacing on your
Lissy.
teammate. Yeah, I'm space. Yeah, you hadn't met her yet.
Mm-mm.
So cool, not cool. Like, what's the
Yeah.
deal there? You
So
guys
it's-
get along?
I mean, so yeah, that was the announcement. I don't know if we made that announcement last time. Racing for Segment Racing, who's a new race team, right?
So you had
I think,
told me
I think
about
I told
it
you, but we
off
didn't
the
actually.
record,
Yeah, we
and
didn't make an announcement.
I didn't dare say.
Yeah.
I didn't even post the
Yeah.
the episode until after
Yeah.
I think your announcement came. I
Mhm.
was so fucking paranoid. I was like, I'm not ruining this for Mallory. I'm not saying nothing.
No, yeah. So Segment Racing is a new race team. Maddie Patterson is the owner. She was a journalist. She's worked in the MotoGP paddock for a long time. Her husband, Simon Patterson, is a journalist in MotoGP. And so I've been around the paddock a long time, and it kind of worked out to where I got to race for them. So
How did that come about? Did she reach out? Did you reach
it was
out?
really
Like,
random.
how-
Yeah, it was really random actually. So when I got my announcement that I was going to be in the Women's World Championship, right, I made an announcement on Instagram because I needed to find $10,000 in a week. I had posted about that, and a lot of people had shared it. And one of our mutual friends, Rennie Skaisbrook, who's from Australia, he races a TT. He knew Maddie, shared it on his story, and Maddie saw it, and she originally had a different American on her team, or had picked someone else to race on her team, and that person had backed out and did something different. So she was looking for a second rider. Yeah.
You jump at the opportunities.
Works for me. Yeah. So
it does.
she randomly sent me a message on Instagram and was like, "Hey, let's have a conversation. Here's my number on WhatsApp." And I was like, this is really random. Like, I don't know about this.
Did you know who she was at that point?
No idea. But she had a lot of mutual friends of mine, so I knew she was like real and not some like fake, like,
some bots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a phone call conversation with her, and basically she said, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do for this sport, and our goals kind of aligned of like that we want to work really hard to make a difference. And so she told me what she was about, and I told her what I was about, and she's like, she's like, I don't actually really know much about you. She's like, but she's like, I want you on my team. And she talks about it, and she's always like, yeah, it was just like really like it happened so fast, or it was just like the moment I started talking to you on the phone, I knew that you were the one that I wanted.
Nice.
And she's like, to be completely fair, I didn't really do much of a research on your CV or anything. Like, she was just like, I don't know, like, it seems like you look great, so whether or not that's fate or not, everything happens for a reason. But yeah, so
that's very true,
it
though.
really works out, and it's a different experience now than it would have been as me running on my own.
Well, I think a big part of that is the person who referred your name to her probably would not have done that if you would have had a horrible reputation in whatever paddock that you've spent time in over the years.
And yeah,
and that's a credit to you.
Yeah.
And just being a nice person. Just, like it really does go to show.
Unlike some people in this industry.
Well, yeah, like that's very true. But it goes to show, like, if you're just nice to people, like, good things do come your way. And this is a prime example of that.
Yeah. And that was, she made a couple of phone calls to a couple of people in the Moto America paddock, and I guess everybody had really nice things to say about me. So luckily, for me, it's just, being a genuine person and being around, really helped me in this situation, because it wasn't like she had a lot of time to really vet me out. So she called me, and then here we are on the team now. So my teammate Lissy, she's 19. She's from the UK. She has aspirations to race in the TT. Like, she wants to do real road racing. Like, she does Oliver's Mound in the UK, and she's just a little
crazy.
spitfire. She's
I couldn't imagine.
Super determined, and like, she's like wanting to do it, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Good for her.
Yeah. So I was like, so I think, her and I's goals are a little differently as far as what we want to achieve in the championship. She wants to get the exposure, she wants to learn a lot, but she doesn't have high expectations on the results. And for me, obviously it's a little bit more results based, but I'm definitely a little bit more of like a mentor. I'm 30, but
jeez.
I know. So it's like, I'm kind of like her older sister kind of deal, and it's like, everybody jokes. They're like, oh, you don't need to do that. And I'm like, I know, but like, I've been racing a bit and doing a lot of stuff in Moto America, and more at the professional level, I think, than she has.
Yeah.
And so I get to kind of show her a little bit more about how I race and how the things are, and hopefully help her a little bit. So
I think that's a good. I guess I understand kind of both sides of that teammate fence
yeah,
because you ultimately you are competing against her,
totally. And
and
it's not my job to help
yeah,
her,
it's not your
but
job, but at the same time, you are going to be spending a lot of time with
totally.
her, and it's really only going to help both of you,
Right.
honestly, in the long run.
Totally. And so it's
So
like I don't think I'm gonna I'm not seeking out to go out of my way to help when I have also my own things I gotta worry about.
yeah.
But I can lead by example, or whatever. And I can hopefully learn some things from her too. But
Mhm.
I did kick her butt at Mario Kart
Well,
the night before the race weekend. So for the testing dates.
oh, here comes the shit
You
talk.
know, I was like, well, it was cute because she was like, "How good are you at Mario Kart?" I was like, "Not really that great." And I was just like, "It's been like," and
Oh,
then kicked her butt. It was fun though. We played a little bit. We were trying to have some fun, outside of the racing stuff. I mean, this was the first time I got to meet her and spend time with her, and so
yeah.
it was really cool to actually get to meet all the team and stuff. And
It would have been cool if she would have been able to come over here with Maddie and Simon.
totally,
But
I'm trying to get her to come here for the Moto America round so she can come hang out. I was like, she can just stay at my house for a couple weeks,
oh
but
yeah, that'd be
I don't know
great.
if she's gonna be able to afford to come over or whatnot. So
So how does all that work then? You are on this team.
mhm.
This is a serious commitment. Are they allowing you to race in Moto America when scheduling or time allows?
Yeah, so we talked about just the Ridge round with the Hypermotard
Okay.
for Doreen. So we're doing Diva Racing basically is now the title sponsor of that. So that's
Mhm.
Doreen, and we're still gonna race the Super Hooligan there.
She's up in Vancouver, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Ducati Richmond in
Okay.
Canada. Yeah. So
Nice.
she still wants to do it. And I was like, well, there's no reason not to. The schedule doesn't conflict and it's my home round. So it's 25 minutes away, from my house. Like
Yeah.
there's not really a reason. So we're putting that together. So it'll be really cool because I'll get to kind of see the Moto America friends and hang out in the Moto America paddock again.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that. But yeah,
Good.
so it's right after our first round Misano. When we come back, it's like 2 weeks after that. It's the Ridge round.
Well, you're just flying.
So
You're racking up
I
miles.
come back. Yeah, I come back like the 20th, I think. So that Monday after. And then my dad's getting married on the Friday after I get back. And then the following weekend is the Ridge round. So
Jeez.
yeah. And then I'm home for like another week after that. And then I go to UK and then come back. And then we'll see what happens after that. We haven't quite gotten that far yet.
Man.
The schedule is, yeah, I mean, I leave next Thursday to go back to Europe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ride. Andrew's coming with me, and we're gonna go ride Donington for 2 days, and
Nice.
then get some practice in. And then he is racing at Spa with JP and Gilbert for the 8-hour endurance race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're gonna
Okay.
race an 8-hour endurance race on an R1 over there. So I'm gonna watch them do that, and then I'm gonna stay over there and go to Misano
That's
for my
cool.
first race round. So be on for like 3 weeks.
Now you got, and I believe it was from Motorsports of Olympia.
Mhm.
Did they hook you up with an R7?
Yamaha did
Okay,
actually.
Yamaha
Yeah, so
did.
Yamaha Corp actually hooked me up
Okay.
on a deal. And that whole thing came about because I was at MotoGP for Coda, right? I got to go to MotoGP weekend and meet a bunch of the racers and hang
Uh-huh.
out. I actually met someone at Yamaha that helped me get that deal sealed because they were the whole program. Like when we got our acceptance, we got our packet that said that we could get a Yamaha or test bike. And I asked them about it. I said, literally the day we got the information, I said, I need a test bike. How do I get it? And they were like, well, we'll figure it out. And then they were having issues getting one from Europe to here because they were like, well, we don't really know how to get one over and blah, blah, blah. So it was like months later. And
Mhm.
I'm like, this was in I don't know, February that I messaged them and told them about it. And then they said they'd work on it. Well, then, here we are at the Coda MotoGP round in May, and I still don't have a bike. And I was like, where, I haven't heard from him. I don't know what's happening. Like, I need a bike now because everybody else is already testing on GYTR bikes that I
Yeah.
can't even get in this country. Right. Because all the GYTR parts are Europe. They don't even sell the parts that we have on the bikes that are over there here. So I can't even make the bike that I'm riding over there, which is already unfair, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
So yeah, so we get so I talked to the guy at MotoGP and was like, hey, actually, are you the guy that might be who could help me? And he was like, yeah, I can totally help you out. And literally that day he messages a thing, was like, hey, can we get her hooked up with this deal? So still had to buy the bike. It's my bike, but Yamaha sent it. It's from their one of their warehouses in California, and shipped it to Motorsports Olympia.
But it's unfortunately just bone
Just a
stock
stock bike.
or
Yeah, stock,
gotcha.
100%. Yeah, so it's the same bike as anybody else could buy off the showroom floor.
Gotcha. Well, if
So
anyone out there is listening and you want to sponsor like a Penske or an Olin's in a cartridge kit.
well, so here's the deal, right? So we're actually running on stock forks. We don't get a cartridge kit.
Oh, really?
So we get a
All right,
shock.
scratch that.
Yeah, we get a shock. We get an Olin shock. But yeah, so Donnie B is uh building the bike as close to spec as possible. So
Okay.
we're slowly trickling parts in so that way we can get it as close as we can. So
Is the motor just staying bone stock? Or
I mean that's what the bikes are that we have over there. They're bone stock with I think with an ECU splash.
gotcha.
They have acro exhaust, and that's pretty much it. So it'll be interesting. So we got some data yesterday when we rode at the track day, and we're gonna see the acceleration curve of one or the other and whether or not one's better or not. Because like I don't actually know if the other one's faster. So we'll see.
I
but
only gripe. Well, I have a couple gripes. One,
you never have gripes.
I know. Jesus. Half my fucking life is a giant gripe.
Gripe.
For as much as World Superbike was pushing this, and rightfully so, they should be pushing this. I really wish that they would have broadcast the test.
I know.
And that was
I don't know why they didn't.
only seeing live timing was, I thought
Yeah.
that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the only reason they didn't was because the track isn't really ready for World Superbike.
Come on, they can figure it out.
Yeah,
They're
so
very
like
resourceful.
right. I think like that's the thing is like the track itself needs a lot of work, and they're trying not to get backlash or anybody freaking out about the fact that the track's not ready for World Superbike to be there.
Gotcha.
There's no infrastructure. There's no like places to watch. There's no.
I mean,
like,
we could see that from that aerial shot that
totally
they posted.
right, and it's
so
like
that was no surprise.
Yeah,
We wanted to see bikes on track. We wanted to see you all out there
Totally.
ripping around.
Right.
And my other gripe. Everybody looks the same.
I know.
Could they not have like made 10 different like graphic kits and you can just pick one? That way not all 25 or 24 bikes are the exact same.
And everybody gets to put their own graphics on certain spots of the bike. So everybody has to keep all the current factory sponsors on there and everything, but they're going to have, you can put graphics on certain locations. So our next plan of attack is to kind of put our own graphics on it. We just didn't have them ready yet because we're still kind of, the team is trying to acquire sponsors still. So that's still not quite there yet, but I think we know where we can put graphics. So I think I'm going to get like a teal graphics package made, and we're just going to teal all the white spots that we can.
Mean, that's your color. So
I
you
know.
Might as well.
So I think that's what we're going to do before we go, or part of the graphics package that we're going to put together, I think. So we can make it a little more visible. My new helmet will help me be a little more visible.
I saw that in your IG today.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick.
Edge Designs. Yeah, I did a really good job. So
that's really cool.
We put the blue in there so that way we could have a little bit more standout. But
nice.
yeah, I think I don't know. Like it was also we were testing. Our test dates weren't just us at the test dates. It was an open track day.
Yeah, there at one point the live timing had like 110 people on there.
A bunch of other random people.
Who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. So it was there was nobody there on the Thursday day because the weather was so shitty anyway. So like there was nobody really else there. But Friday there was people, so they were running track day sessions in between our sessions.
Okay.
And it was fine. There was just a couple people that like crashed and then they had to pick up bikes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, all that stuff. But it wasn't that busy of a track day, so it was fine. But like, yeah, it wasn't even a dedicated World Superbike test. It was, hey, here's a general track day.
It's a general track
and
day.
Here you get some certain sessions. And it was fine. Like it went a lot better than I thought it would. When I found out that it wasn't a private test day, I got really concerned because I was like, oh dear God, like why would we do this? Yeah. But
that sounds like it worked out.
It worked out just fine. I mean, we had plenty of track time and stuff. The schedule was a little wonky, but
that's okay. All right. So how did the test itself go? I mean, you obviously got a lot of track time over the 2 days, and it was kind of cool that you did get some work in the rain in, because you never know, you may be racing in it. So
totally.
it is kind of actually nice and probably beneficial to just get some track time in the rain.
Yeah, so we didn't get as much track time as we were hoping because the Thursday day kind of got like it poured down rain in the afternoon. Like after our 2 rain sessions, it started dumping, and then it was just like too much rain, so we missed our last session of the day. But yeah, I mean it was cutthroat. Like the vibe was very so. Like I think my biggest concern about the program was like we didn't want to be like. I didn't know how it was going to be like competition wise. Like I wasn't sure if everybody, like how they picked everybody. Right. So how I was going to stack up and then what was happening around with, the abilities of everybody was kind of a question. And so I didn't know like how friendly everybody was going to be and everything else. And it was like kind of cutthroat. Like the girls there were very much there to do a job. And like, I think that, World Superbike posted a thing about me the day before we got there that was like, can Mallory Dobbs win a championship? And I was like, oh dear God. I was like, let's just put a target on my back from the literal start.
We all saw that.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, like that's cool. I love that, but also kind of makes me feel like the girls aren't gonna like me very much. So I didn't really make any friends. There was a couple girls that were still really nice and stuff, but it was very much like all the girls were there to do it purpose. Like they were very much there to do shit. So it was it was definitely like um everybody was trying to figure out where we shook up. So we had 2 dry sessions in the morning, and everybody's like, I definitely could learn the track faster than they could. I think just because I'm used to riding a faster bike at a track, and the guys kind of told us, they're like, well, these are new bikes, keep them below 9,000 RPM for the first session. And I was like, okay, sure. So the first session, like we definitely were cruising, I think we were fifth or whatever, the first or second session. And then, it started raining and we threw reins at it and we were like, well, let's just go ride it and whatever. And so I tested it out and I was probably the most comfortable I've ever felt in the rain on a bike ever.
Yeah.
Like
R7s are fun bikes.
That session was so much fun. Like between the grip of the track, like the grip was so good. The like Pirelli reins were awesome. And then like the bike itself was just fun to ride. Cause it's like, on a 600, you're like kind of fearing for your life because at any given moment, you're just going to snap yourself to the moon.
Yeah.
And so, I definitely felt like that's how I was riding at first. And that's still kind of my problem riding now. We'll get to that. But it was like I just kept going and like going faster and faster and faster. And I guess, Don's sitting there in the pit box while they're watching the live timing, and I was like 7 seconds faster than anybody else at like by like halfway through the session, P1, 7 seconds faster than anybody. And I was just going like there was no moments, there was no scariness. I was like, oh my God, I'm riding with my head. Like it was just perfect. Like it was so much fun.
Nice.
And then the Taiwanese girl put in a fast lap on like one of the last laps and went 0.1 seconds faster than I did. So she got P1. And I was like so bummed because I wanted the P1, but
that's okay.
But yeah, we did find that like if we do have a rain race or anything, we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So I know we're kind of like, well, maybe if it just like rains for all of them, it wouldn't be so bad. But so I mean the bike was super comfy and like it was good to get kind of the both practices in so we kind of know where we sit in both situations. Anna Carrasco was not very comfy in the rain. I think she was still kind of figuring some things out. But yeah, so we got that in, and then Friday was beautiful all day, so it was a little bit more of like we could get some time in, and then it was like at one point I think I was sitting like P13, and like Dawn was showing me it was like P13 plus 3 seconds, and I was like, oh my God, like that is not that much time, and I'm in 13th out of like 20. There was 23 that were there. One of the girls is already hurt, so she wasn't there at the test. And 23 girls. I was sitting 13th, and I was like, holy cow. And so then I was like trying to like kind of work through some stuff. And at that point, it's like tents that we're trying to gather, and in the middle of the day, like kind of just struggled with getting anywhere else. I was struggling with getting the bike to kind of like carry the roll speed and drive out. And so I was trying to get a tow, and there was some shenanigans going on where like girls didn't want anybody to give tows. And I'm like, it's a test day. Like, why does this matter? So they'd like, if they knew somebody was behind them, they'd like slow down, like pull over. It was just some typical typical games you see like at Moto 2, Moto 3, and no one really wants a tow kind of deal. Because you kind of need one, right? Like you can't really set a lot of heaters on your own with no like tow as far as like drafting and everything else. So and we made one change near the end of the day that really kind of made the bike a whole lot better for us and dropped another whole second on the last session of the day. So I think we would have had like it would have been nice to have another session or two. We always want like more time, but we're getting better and we're sitting, I think we were like 2.4 seconds off the leader. So between the first person and like the 10th person, there's only like 2.5 seconds between everybody.
And you finished 6th?
In the last session, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So I think we were like overall, I think maybe 7th or 8th with everybody from the day,
Yeah.
So we're sitting okay. I mean, everybody's like I said, everybody's really tight together. So it's like the competition itself, like first to the last person was only like 9 seconds or 8 seconds different in lap time. And no one's really like that far off. Like it's not like, oh my gosh, that person's like way slower or anything.
No, the more comfortable you get on the bikes.
Totally.
I mean, obviously your biggest hurdle is going to be you're seeing all these tracks for the first time.
And a lot of these girls in Europe have been racing on them.
They've been to all of them. So that's just one less thing they have to deal with at the beginning of their weekend.
So it's a little bit hard for me because it's like, well, we only get a 25-minute practice session and then we get Super Pole. So that's it. We get one 25-minute session.
How many races will you have?
2.
Okay.
So
at least you get 2 races.
Right. So even if we have a really terrible grid spot, hopefully we can use my nice start skills that I have or have had in the past to rocket me up a couple rows,
So what changes are you guys allowed to make then? Like gearing, ergonomic stuff.
Y-
Obviously,
yeah,
you
you
got
can
an
change.
Olin, so you can, do stuff like that.
Yeah, so you can change. Well, it's not one with a pneumatic preload adjuster, so it's
Oh,
just like, yeah.
all right.
So it's
Never
like,
mind then.
yeah. So and then you get three different spring rate choices. So you have like a 130, a 120, and a 110 or something like that.
Okay.
We can't change spring rates in the front. We can only change oil level height.
Hmm.
They're like I said, they're stock, no cartridges or anything, stock forks. You can change ergonomics, you can change like foot pegs and things like that, and,
Yeah.
and bars. And we get four different sprocket choices on the rear, nothing on the front. It's like a 41 through a 44 sprocket
Oh,
on the
wow.
rear. And yeah, and you can change like I think you can change like ride height and stuff. So front end, geometry, rear end geometry, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's pretty limited to what you can change.
Yeah.
So and we have data on the bikes, like they're 2D, they have 2D data on them. So they were kind of doing some data review with us, but it wasn't really that in depth. And it was kind of like they did it at the end of the day. So like I feel like we could have developed a little bit more of the program if we had the ability to like we weren't really sure how the program was going to work. They weren't really super explicit about whether or not we could like plug into the bike and get our own data and then review it ourselves. And other people and other teams were having their crew chiefs and guys do it without anybody really saying anything. So we know that now. And so now we're going to kind of change our plan a little bit
Yeah.
because I think we could have developed a little bit better of a program and or changed a lot more or known what our problems were if we could have looked at that data a little bit sooner.
Do you have any more test days before your
No,
first race?
no, no.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was it. 2 days of testing. And then, like I said, I'll get to ride Donington. But we're going to, borrow like a fleet bike, like a street bike or
Yeah.
something, So
But you raced there later on, right?
yeah, the Donington's the second round.
Okay. Well, at least you'll
So
be familiar with the track.
yeah, the plan is to try to get some sort of testing dates at all of them before we go to every one of them.
Mhm.
That's hopefully what's going to happen, but who knows? I think being on the back foot in this situation with all these girls that are this cutthroat, like it's going to hurt me a lot to not be able to ride the
Yeah.
track at a different time.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, I think that my ability to learn the racetrack is okay, but not good enough to really necessarily be championship winning.
Just show up and
Yeah,
throw down
I would like to
fast
think that
lap
I'm that
times right
good, but
away.
no, I'm not. Like
Yeah.
25 minutes is not enough time. Like, because at least with Moto America, you have like 30 minutes and then 30 minutes or 25, but then you
Mhm.
sleep on it and then you have another qualifying the next day.
Yeah.
And that's when you drop a ton of time, is when you've had a chance to digest everything, think
Yeah.
about it, sleep on it, wake up and do it again. And I don't get that opportunity.
Well, knowing you, you will make the best out of whatever
Yeah,
curveballs come your
totally.
way.
Totally.
I mean, it is what it
It,
is.
it is what it
So
is. Yeah.
you're not going to be one to make excuses. You're going to
No.
perform regardless. I
Totally.
have no doubt about
Thanks.
that. What are, I guess, I don't know, my own personal curiosity, uh, things that you were surprised about, both good and bad. And it could be anything, whether it's the second you took off from SeaTac, to the second you got home, this whole experience of you, not only leaving the country for the first time, but you're going someplace to now do a job
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, let's be honest, this is being taken very serious in that
Mm-hmm.
paddock.
Yeah.
And you said yourself, it is definitely more result based. Like, what has surprised you, both good and bad, about this whole journey so far?
um
Speaking of curveballs coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, it was oh my goodness. Yeah. There's so many things in Italy that just like confused me that really shouldn't have confused me. Like a lot of their doors don't work right. Like their keys are weird, their locks are weird. Like I just feel so stupid because I gotta figure out to like flush the toilet. Like, where's the thing? It's a little switch like in the wall that's like here. It's just stuff like that was weird.
The first floor is actually the second floor. I noticed that a lot.
I don't know.
0 is the first
I
floor,
don't know
and
that I
then
noticed
1,
that.
and
Yeah.
then
It's just so much of that was just like, oh my goodness, I feel like so dumb right now, and I've like been living life for this long, and I don't know why this is so hard. But I think the good and the bad, this is like a good and bad thing, both at the same time. Is like the good, like it's good for the championship that it's so competitive and cutthroat because it's going to make for really good racing and be really entertaining to see. Like Anna Carrasco, is not lighting the world on fire with what she's doing, right? You look at the lap times and the people that are up there with her, and like they're not that far off from her, and or she wasn't leading the leaderboards the whole day. Like she threw in a flyer at the end of the day in the last session, but I mean, the capability of all these other girls is just as good as Anna's.
Mhm.
And I think it's good for other women in the sport because everybody has this thing where like Anna's the most visible racer as far as a woman goes because she raced World Super Sport 300. She won the championship. Like it's great. Like I think I like not taking that away from her at all. But, you know, everybody thinks that she's like the best thing since sliced bread, and it's like there's a bunch more women out here that can do the same thing that she's doing. And so I think it's really cool for the program to say like there are these all these girls that are this close together.
Mhm.
It's also bad because it's not as easy of a championship for anybody to win, you know. So
Which ultimately is good, though.
ultimately it's good because it
Ultimately, it's
is
good.
something that like we don't want to go into this and spend all this money to say that it was an easy championship and somebody just walked away with it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this is boring, you know. There's two girls up at the front, a bunch in the middle, and then a bunch in the back, and these people are getting lapped and you know all
Mhm.
that stuff. Like it's not a joke. Like these people came here for a purpose. These people, like a lot of these girls have been racing since they were little kids. This is their opportunity to make it to the big time. And it's, I mean, we're all doing the same thing. We want to do the thing, you know. No one's
Yeah.
there going, I just want the experience. Like
You wanna
no, we were
win.
like, we all want to win. So
Yeah.
it's really cool because I think it's going to make for really good racing. And I think people are really going to enjoy it. And it's like I said, if anything comes of it, if I get a podium or anything like that, I mean, it's going to be hard fought. Like it's
Yeah.
not something that's just given to us. And
Earned.
so,
Earned, not given, as
yeah,
the saying goes.
and it's super cool. I mean, it's still a really cool experience, regardless of what happens. Like regardless if we, you know, do really well or not. Like as far as the results go, I think the whole thing is a great experience. So in the long run, if you know we come out of this with you know top three, great. And if we don't, then you know we learned a lot and we got to say that we went to Europe and raced in Italy. You know, like I came off the first session of the day on Thursday, and like it's so funny because Simon was taking pictures. You know, my team owner's husband was taking pictures for the day, and he was sitting at pit gate exit. And I got off the racetrack, and I literally did like I was just like screamed in my helmet and just did like a fist bump, right? You got a picture of it. And I literally was just like, oh my goodness. Like, cause I was just embracing the fact, like, oh my gosh, I'm riding motorcycles in Italy right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a Thursday. I'm in Italy. Like
Did you ever
never been here before, never done any of this stuff. And I'm like, never ridden this bike. Like I'm riding with these girls from across the world at
well,
the
think back
world level.
think back to that first track day that you did on whatever that clapped out piece of shit
It was
R6
not a
was.
clapped out piece of
Come on,
shit.
stop it.
My '07 R6S was beautiful. Okay. It was fine. It was not clapped out.
It was a little clapped out. It's all subjective. Some would say it was clapped out. Others would say it was definitely clapped
It was
out.
beautiful.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
Did you ever think, though, in your wildest of dreams, that you would go from that track day? Was it a Pacific?
The Ridge.
Okay, but from the Ridge,
Mhm.
that track day to now you are
No.
on a
No.
professional team
No.
racing in a championship
No.
series, testing, testing all over these.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna be
Yep.
going places.
7 years later since I bought my first motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, would not. I would have laughed at you. I'd have been like, "Ha, you're so funny."
So, what do you think it is that has gotten you from point A to now point B?
Um,
If you had to put something on it, what is the thing that has gotten you from that inexperienced novice to where you are now?
Grit, lots of tears. No. Stupidity. No,
All can be true.
I mean all of those things, right? I
All of
mean,
those
all
things.
like somebody asked me, I did an interview while I was there at the test with somebody that's doing a documentary, and they were like, you know, has there ever been a moment where you wanted to quit and you know didn't want to do this? And I was like, 100%. I was like, there was a moment where I wanted to throw in the towel and I was ready to be done. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of like kind of that desire to like want to keep doing more and better and just keep like pushing, you know. It's like competitiveness, you know. It's that we all have when we're racers, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit of the just keep chipping away at it, you know. You want to keep getting better, and that's kind of like the addiction of like racing, right? Is that like when you start racing you're like, okay, well, like I'm okay now, but maybe I'll get better. And then you get better and you have a really good race and you're like, oh, I want to keep doing it because I can keep getting better. And then you have a couple setbacks and then you're like,
Hmm.
well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore, you know. And you spend a lot of money and time, and at this point, I mean, it's kind of like a lifestyle. I mean,
It
it
sucks you in.
takes my whole life, you know. It's we talked about it a little bit before we started the podcast, but you know, it's like dating a racer who's doing the same thing is, you know, we're both doing a lot, and it's really hard on our relationship too, and just like life in general, right? Like,
Hmm.
um, I am like this wouldn't be possible if I had kids or like, you know, a lot more responsibilities and things like that, you know, because it is taking up so much time and effort. but it is something that I enjoy really doing and all the experiences. And recently someone asked me, well, like, what are you sacrificing to do this with your life? And it was very negative, like a connotation. Like it's
Yeah.
very much like you need to think about what you're sacrificing to do this thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Like, well, for what? Like, what are you doing this for? And I'm like, because I want to do the experiences. Like, that's the thing is like, I'm not chasing the trophies to get the trophies to bring them back and say that I won something of purpose.
Hmm.
Yes, it's great. But like the little plastic trophies don't mean anything in the long run. It's to say that like I get to tell people in the future or live a life that's full to me that I get to go do these cool things and race motorcycles in other countries. Um,
Has that been a negative that you found, is maybe people's reaction to what you're doing or their responses to, maybe when you put your goals out there publicly? Because I have noticed, and this is just, I don't know, me really just needing to get off of fucking Twitter, because Twitter's just an absolute cesspool of negativity and fucking
it's X
drama.
now. It's not even Twitter.
I know, yeah. But it's like, you see, or at least, I see the comments, like, this is
Mhm,
stupid, like,
totally.
why don't they go out and just race with the guys,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. Um, I hope you don't pay attention to that.
Oh yeah.
But some of that stuff, it's impossible not to see because it's, especially if you're doing interviews with media and they're going to let their own personal
Mhm.
biases get in the way of their questions sometimes. And
Totally.
then you're going to get questions like, why are you doing this? Look what you're sacrificing. It's
Yeah.
like, well, who the fuck are you to tell me,
Yeah.
what I'm sacrificing,
Totally.
especially when you're happy?
Right.
Like, have you seen an uptick in that, or just people's
Not
responses or,
necessarily. Not necessarily. Honestly, the like I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Is like honestly the vibe or the general consensus about the program is really positive. Besides the few that could say like, "Oh, send them back to the kitchen."
yeah,
My team owner has misogyny Mondays at this point, so
I
we
saw that on, yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
so we totally just like flame those random people that say those mean comments from time to time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Deservedly so.
yeah, and I think most of the feedback has been really positive about it. It's yeah, do women need necessarily this in the sport? I don't know. Like I think the motivation and the people that are seeing the program will help other people become motivated to do it. So
Yeah.
we're going to get more females in the sport this way. Like seeing other girls be good role models for the sport, which is not something we typically have, right? Like even at the local club level, we have some women that race, but not necessarily always the best role models. And it just depends. Like it's just a matter of like we all have to have our intrinsic motivation to do what we want to do,
Yeah.
and part of what I do and part of what I like keeps me motivated to keep racing is those other motivators of like being a role model for little kids and seeing little girls that are like excited that they see a girl racer and it's not just all these guys. So that's kind of something that brings me happiness in the long run too, is that like I get to also inspire others to do it. And it's really cute when like I go to a track day. Like I was just, there at a track day the other day, and one of the guys was telling me that his daughter has like posters up on the wall,
Hmm.
with like the stickers that he got from me and whatever. And he's like, yeah, he's like, it's not weird, but it's like kind of like a shrine of like Mallory Dobbs racing stuff. And I was like, no, I mean like that's really cool because it gives her something like to look up to that says like, well, this girl's doing all these cool things. I want to do them too.
Yeah.
At least that's what I hope happens. And
Well, ultimately, too, the racing is going to speak for itself,
totally.
and it's going to be competitive racing.
Oh
It's
yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
close racing,
Yeah.
and it's going to be entertaining. And
Hmm.
ultimately, World Superbike wants to put out a good product.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good product,
Totally.
and I personally, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be cool to watch. Um, I wish you guys had more rounds,
I know. Well,
and
I think it'll get there. Like I think if they start 6 rounds this season, like I think next year if it goes really well, they'll do more rounds, and then maybe more girls too. I don't know.
nice.
So we'll see what happens with it. I think that, obviously with the first year, it's a pilot program. Like they're starting it out and they're to see what happens. I don't really know. I don't even know what like re-enrollment looks like in the next year, like what after this year, what does next year look like? Like, are they letting all the girls stay and then they're picking new girls, or
Is that not up to the team owners or team
I
principals?
don't know
No
what,
idea.
I don't know what the program does. Like, I don't know. Cause they picked us this year. Right. So like, the World Superbike had 40 plus applications and they went through them and picked all the girls that are going to be in it.
Okay.
I happened to get in it before I even got picked on a team. Like I was World Superbike already said that I was going to get in it on my own, like as a
Okay.
Mallory Dobbs racing entry. So
What would happen if Maddie hadn't reached out? Would they have just found you a team to be on?
no, there's a lot on nobody's really on a team. There's only like 3 teams.
Okay.
And the weird part is that like 2 of those teams are factory teams. So it's like 2 of them are factory Yamaha teams. One of the girls on Pata Prometeon, and then the other girl is on Evan Brothers, and then one of the girls is with Yart. And so a lot of it, like 3 of them are like factory backed Yamaha riders at this point.
Gotcha.
So, but otherwise, no. I mean, there's 1 or 2 teams that have 2 riders, but most of them are privateers that are just on their own.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
a team isn't a requirement. It was just something that we did because it makes the logistics a little easier.
Gotcha.
So I don't have to plan it all as a team manager anymore. You know,
You have planned enough the last few
I
years.
have planned enough.
It's probably nice to have
Yeah,
someone
it
else
is nice
planning
to-
some logistics for once. That was
Yeah.
always the biggest pain in the
Yeah, it's
ass
so
I
hard.
found doing the AMA stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't the on track, it was always the logistics.
No, it's everything else in between. I mean, the on track time is such a small amount of time for all the other time that you're spending doing other stuff.
That was the relief.
The shirt design, the leathers design, the canopy, the travel,
Just
the logistics, the
Pass it,
transport,
press pat, you know, like
Yeah,
not
it's
press, but like crew pat, like
so
just
many
all that
things.
stuff. I was like, Jesus, how
Yeah.
can I just go on track now?
Yeah, can I just
Like,
go
when do I
ride
just get
now?
to go on track and not have to think?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, man. Well, it'll be cool. It'll be cool. Do you? So I'm sure you have some goals that are internal, and you have some goals that are external. I won't ask you the internal goals. If you would like to share them, you can. But what are your goals? You know, I assume you probably have some lofty ones as well as some realistic goals.
Totally.
But what are you like? What are some realistic expectations for you this season?
Yeah, I mean, I ultimately want internally, I want to win a championship. I think that'd be really cool in the inaugural season to do that. That's a pretty big ask. That's like a pretty lofty goal, right? So, that's something I want to do. I want to at least get a couple podiums this season at the minimum. If we can be consistently in the top 5, that'd be rad.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge with me not knowing any of the racetracks. I'm a little bit behind the ball as far as that sitting right now. But, if we do get some practice time in, then hopefully that'll help us. And yeah, I don't see any reason why I can't be in the top 5, top 3, getting some podiums. So that's kind of the goal. I just keep imagining myself getting a podium, being on the podium at World Superbike. Like, that feels pretty cool. Like,
that would be pretty amazing.
So we're gonna put in the work. I mean, we're doing all the things to do it and see what happens from there. There's a lot of things that happen in between that, but
what are the biggest concerns that you have going into this season? Obviously lack of track time, at these different facilities, I would think that would be one of the bigger concerns.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hardest
just
thing.
because it's an immediate hurdle that you have to deal with,
Yeah.
right out of the gate.
Totally.
But is there other stuff that
I mean, obviously there's a risk of getting hurt. There's a lot of with this close racing and these girls kind of being a little more cutthroat. I'm a little concerned that there's going to be some.
You realize you're the same way, right?
Dicey, yes. Yeah, no, I'm not saying I'm not the problem.
I have firsthand seen you be cutthroat with motherfuckers out on the track.
I have to, man.
I know.
The pigtails make everybody angry.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I got hit 3 times last year in Moto America. Yeah. We said it was just like people seeing the braids get like mocking them, and they were like, "No!" and then just T-boned me instead. Yeah. So, there's gonna be some cutthroatness. Anna did a little inside pass on me during the track day and ran me wide. Like, she just kept going, and I was like, "Hey, like, turn, like, go!" And she was like, just pushed me out, and I was like, "Okay, I see how it goes. I see how it is." So yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of that, and it's like on little bikes, it's a little bit different. I'm not as used to the close racing really. Cause in like 600s, it doesn't necessarily happen as much. Right. Cause it's not like we have the horsepower to deal with. We don't have, everybody's going to be on the same bike now. So it's like, we don't have the horsepower now. So it's like, everybody's going to be drafting.
Oh, you mean
people are going to be doing like,
you don't have your cheater 636
motor
anymore?
It was not a cheater motor. It was legal. 100% legal. And I added weight to my bike. So I did the whole minimum weight requirement. I don't want to hear it. Have a good crew chief that built me a really fast motorcycle. Okay. And everybody's mad about it because I can beat them in a straight line. Whang. Yeah, I can't do that anymore, which is like kind of frustrating because they're all the same horsepower and these girls are little. So like, I'm not really the smallest girl, right? I'm like kind of in the middle. So there's like a little bit of that too. It's not, I'm not as little as they are. Means I can't really go as fast. So yeah, there's a little bit of drafting, and then I don't have as much experience as they do. Like these girls, like, yeah, it's a benefit to the fact that like I can go faster. Like I'm used to going faster, but it's not a benefit to the fact that like when you look at my throttle trace, I get on the throttle like I would a 600. So I get on the throttle, I do the initial tire set where I'm like, yeah, and I like barely get on it, just to, like set the tire, and then we go. Whereas like now I'm on a little bike, I don't need to do that, but I'm
Yeah.
wasting this time because I'm going, yep, and then holding the throttle and then going, oh, and then going to full throttle, right? Whereas like I could just be like rolling on the throttle right away.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to riding a bike that has like no horsepower. It
You'll get
has
that
horsepower.
figured out though.
Yeah, but it's like, so when I told the data guy about it, I was like, I'm actually from riding 600 super sport background. He was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I was like, yeah, because I'm just used to not riding it so hard. And so these other girls have been riding 300s and 400s, and yeah, they're not used to going as fast, but like they know how to ride those types of bikes a little better,
Yeah.
carry the roll speed, enter the corner in a different way, so that way you're not doing the like V off the corner and get in and get out, right? We don't have the horsepower anymore. So definitely adjusting to that and having to learn that a little bit more is something that I'm struggling with. But it's not something I can't figure out, And in the situation of like being there at World Superbike, there's like every reason to figure it out. It's not like
I think it's not going to be any more difficult than it was when you jumped on that big old Ducati, which is completely different than your Cowie.
totally.
Those bikes couldn't be more opposite.
Totally.
And you
I
got your
love that
head,
bike.
you got your head wrapped around that just fine. So
Yeah.
you'll figure this out. I mean, if anything, you'll end up probably being way more aggressive because you can get away with it.
Mm.
So
I did do a dirty pass on stage the other day on his triple R on the R7. It was so good. So good. Badgering people on a little bike is so much fun.
Well, it is. It is. I spent a brief amount of time on an RC 390, and it was a lot of fun beating up 600s because you can just no regard for braking. It's like, what? Why even have a front brake? Like, you don't need it.
So
I felt
funny.
like, and God, it's like you're almost accelerating to the apex and then out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That thing had less power than what yours had, but it's coming from 600s, you're just going to be like a kid in a candy store on that thing. Kind of once you get your head wrapped around it.
Yeah, it was fun. So I badgered Sage the other day when we were at the track day. It was so good.
Nice.
So good.
Nice. So you're also doing some coaching then in the meantime?
Yeah. So I'm coaching this weekend for the Ken Ho Masterclass at Too Fast, and then doing some riding time for me, trying to get in as much riding time as I can, really. So hopefully gonna ride Sunday, Monday with track time. Get some of my own track time in. I rode at Doreen's birthday day yesterday, so that's where we were there for her birthday.
Was that at the Ridge as well?
Yeah. So
nice day for it.
It was beautiful.
Glad they didn't have it today.
Yeah, it was beautiful yesterday. So I flew back from Italy, and left Milan at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Got to see Seattle time, like 5 p.m. Time traveled back. And I was like, Don and I were like, I've never been so tired and having to be so bright outside because, my eyeballs are just so tired because you're like, it's like 3 a.m. Milan time.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep on the couch, my laptop on my lap. Like, I was like, I just need to stay up for a little bit longer because it's like 8:30. I need to like get my body reset. And then I'm just like I had Moto America on my phone, like trying to catch up on all the races because I missed them all, So I'm trying to catch up on the races. I'm trying to do some work. And then I just like fell asleep on the couch, just knocked out.
That's it.
And woke up and I was like, I probably should go to bed. So then I went to bed and then woke up at 1 a.m. like ding, awake. And I was like, what is happening?
I think that might be one of the more underrated difficult things. It's just the time difference can kind of mess with your brain a little bit. I don't know. Every time I've traveled with, the 9 to 12 hour time difference,
it's hard.
I find myself, it's like I get into cuckoo land at some point mentally where I reach a point in the first few days where I'm just like, what is going on in my head?
I'm like, where am I? Who am I? What day is it? Like, I have no idea. So so I fell asleep, woke up at 1, woke up at 3, woke up, and then I was like, all right, time to go to a track day. And I'd never been so awake like at 5:30 in the morning in my life. Like I woke up and I was just like, I'm awake now. I guess I'm going to do stuff. And so I went to Doreen's day yesterday and everybody was so surprised to see me, I'm like, I'm here, but I don't know that I'm actually here. Like
physically.
Yeah. So I'm still kind of like recovering from that. But yeah, we're hopefully going to stay over there for a little bit for some of the trips, like maybe in August and September, and stay over there for like a month and not do the back and forth. But
nice.
I don't know, like even 9 days in Italy felt like a long time. Like 9 days was like, I was ready to go home. I was like, I want to go home, order the biggest coffee of my life with the most sugar in it because I'm tired of these tiny little coffee cups with their little espresso shots. And I just wanted a coffee. I want an American coffee.
So much to teach you.
I know. I did it though. I only put one little sugar packet in there. I didn't ask for any milk.
You don't need any of that.
I know I did. But okay, I don't drink black coffee typically anyway. I drink sugary coffee, and this was like,
man.
So I put one little zucchero in there, and that was it. So
well, I'll be in Spain August 20th through September 4th. So if you are anywhere near Spain,
okay,
holla.
holla.
I was
Okay,
hoping that you guys would be racing then, and I don't know if you are. I
What-
feel like you
what
either
did you
you
say?
are. I think you may be, but I don't think you're anywhere near Spain.
Yeah, we're racing Portugal.
Oh, that's right by Spain.
Yeah, so we're racing Portugal. Portimao, I think is Portimao, right? Yeah, Portimao. Round 3, Portimao is August 9th through the 11th.
Nope. I will
And
not
then
be there.
Hungary, which is not going to be Hungary anymore. It's going to be something else. And I don't know what something else is yet.
What are the dates on that one?
August 23rd to the 25th. And then I don't know where that is. And then we're
be knee deep in amazing food, probably a beach. And
I mean, at that
many
point, I will
cappuccinos.
probably want to be doing that actually. And then the Italian rounds, and then Cremona's in September, mid-September,
Gotcha.
the 20th through the 22nd.
Well, next year when you're doing it again, I want to try to make it a point to get to one of those rounds. I think that'd be
I have friends that are literally planning part of their honeymoon around my racing. So
no shit.
step it up.
Step it up. Shut the fuck up.
They're like, well, we'll just stay a little bit longer in there so we can watch you race. And I'm like,
apparently I just got called out.
You did. Step it up, man. You got friends who are changing their honeymoon plans.
Oh, jeez. I know. Well, God, what's on my next year's agenda is Japan. I just don't know when. So my girlfriend and I, we've decided that every February we are getting the fuck out of the Northwest.
Totally.
Because it's like this.
Yeah.
It's worse. It's worse than this.
Yeah.
And something happened to my little pea brain a few years ago where I'd always been able to deal with the winters just fine. No big deal. Never had a problem. And then something clicked in my caveman brain, and it's like, leave, get out of here,
get out.
So yeah, we did we did Greece, and then we did Hawaii, and then we just did Jamaica earlier this year. So we may go back to Hawaii again. Hawaii was nice.
Yeah.
I really like Maui.
we have a Maui trip planned in December.
Oh, this is so cool.
I'm just so excited. Like, okay, the season hasn't even started yet. I love it. It's great. And things are awesome. But I'm also looking forward to sitting on a beach and drinking a Mai Tai and not doing anything.
Yeah. No, there's something to be said for that.
I
look forward to going places and then doing that same thing.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, these places are fun and a lot of things are cool and like all the experiences are really great. I'm not like, but at the same time, my brain sometimes is like, it'd be kind of nice to like sit and do nothing for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
But after the season's over, like it'll be nice to have a little bit of a break.
Have you been to Maui before?
Yeah. When I graduated high school, I went to Maui for like a week.
Gotcha.
With my family. So it'll be nice. So we're going with my boyfriend and his family. So we got like a week.
Did you know where at there?
No idea. I didn't ask him any questions.
We stayed in Kihei, I believe. I'm sure I'll get corrected if I'm wrong. I believe it was Kihei, but we had this Airbnb, this apartment. It was about 100 feet from the ocean.
Nice.
So we'd get up, 3 hours time difference the other way. We're waking up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Just like wide awake. And so we'd make a big ass pot of coffee and we'd take our lawn chairs and we'd walk down to the beach and we'd just sit and drink coffee.
Yeah.
And ended up meeting this one dude. They had one of those like traditional canoes, and so they push this, and these fucking things are heavy. So they push it out, and then they're gone for like an hour. Then they come back. Well, they needed help pushing it because it was kind of uphill at that point. So they're like, "Hey, can you help us push this thing back up to its spot?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" What? Yup. So I go down there. We push this thing up. And then the guy who organizes their little club, he's like, "Hey, if you're here Friday, I want you to come on the boat with us." And I was like, "You gotta be shitting me. We're leaving Thursday."
No.
I was so pissed.
Yeah.
And so, he's like, "Oh," he goes, "Well, next time you're here." And then I made another friend who was also on the boat named Marco, who's him and his wife retired there from Colorado.
Wow.
And we're like Instagram pals, and so he's like,
that.
"Yeah, when you're back," he's like, let me know. Yeah, and I'll get you out on the boat, and it'll be great. But it was, man, everyone there was so nice.
Mhm.
So nice. God, the food's so good.
I love that.
Oh, I love the food.
Yeah, I feel like where did we stay? We stayed at Lahaina, I think, when we went last time. We had like a little
Hmm.
like room in like a hotel, which was similar, close to the ocean. But
Yeah.
um yeah. I don't know. We didn't really do a whole lot. It was like mostly a relaxing vacation. I read books and whatnot,
That's,
which
yeah.
but I wanted to like parasail and do some other cool stuff like the zip lining thing and like do some of the cool like outdoorsy things, but it was my
So
family, so
fucking Brian Pinkstaff,
hmm just
he,
name drop, just throw him out there.
oh yeah, Brian Pinkstaff, uh, so for his job, part of his territory is Hawaii. So he has
Okay.
to, he was told he has to start going there more
hmm
because he wasn't going to Hawaii enough
Enough.
apparently. So he goes there for work. He ends up having some free time. He rents a KTM and does this enduro like this enduro day with these dudes.
I love that.
And they took him out in the jungle and on a 300 XCW, and he brought all his gear with him, and then they have a videographer that follows him and like gets
That's fun.
footage of everyone that's in
Yeah.
this little school thing, and then they put together like a little highlight DVD, and then they give it to
Cute.
you when you're done. But I was like, wait, those exist? Like
Yeah.
you can do
totally.
that?
Well, Thailand, they have Thailand moto tours too.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go with Kritu and them with the KYT guys, but they were going in January for like a week, and I got invited because they do like an off-road one and then they do like a street one.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do like a whole moto tours thing where it's like a week, week and a half or something like that. And
Yeah,
you go over there
there's
and they get you all the bikes and all these places to stay.
there's
And
one of those in Costa Rica too.
we were
And
supposed to do. I was supposed to do that for one of my honeymoons. Well, when I was supposed to get married. Um,
we
uh,
were all
but
supposed to get married at one point.
yeah, when I was supposed to get married, we had planned a trip to do Saxon Ring because like Leo Escapes does those tours over in like Italy and Germany and stuff.
Mhm.
And he did one where you would get like you would ride this like adventure, BMW around the Italian Alps, and then you would go to Saxon Ring and ride an S1000 Saxon Ring for
Oh,
2 days.
Jesus.
And that was what we were gonna do for a honeymoon.
Jesus.
But it was
Yeah,
like, because
that'd
that'd be
be,
so fun. And then they just book it all for you. And it's like a little bit more expensive probably than if you booked it yourself.
yeah.
But it's like you don't have to worry about any of the bookings or where you're gonna stay and
They
the bike
take
rental.
care
They just do it all.
the
So,
logistics. See,
yeah, all the
I'd
logistics.
rather
So,
pay.
yeah.
Sometimes I'd rather just pay to have that done.
Yeah.
Trying to plan this Spain trip now. We're going with two of our other friends from CrossFit,
Mhm.
and actually we're meeting another one of our friends who's from France, and he'll be
Oh,
actually
nice.
visiting family in southern France while we'll be
While
there.
you're there, yeah.
So we're all going to meet up. But we've reached a point in the planning phase where I'm just like,
I don't care. Figure it out.
fucking do it and let me know when I need to give you money. Like
Yeah.
I don't like, we're gonna be in
Yeah.
Spain. I don't
Yeah.
care like
Doesn't
where
matter.
we stay in Spain. It's gonna be amazing everywhere that we go.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
so
don't
hard with like with someone who's like a planner. Like I'm a planner very
uh,
much so, where I like to plan everything and like have it all coordinated. There's not a lot of that sometimes when you're doing some of this stuff. So like we didn't have a place, like we didn't know we were gonna stay like Saturday night on our last night in Italy. And so then Dawn and I were just like looking at like what hotel we were gonna stay at, and then we just drove to like one of them. We were like, meh, that one doesn't look very good. So then we like drove to a different one, and then like there was no planning involved with any of it. Like we were just kind of like doing our own thing, and it's like kind of nice to like not plan it and just let it like just wing it, But
no,
like
that's a good way to do things.
I don't know, like especially when you're traveling like with all that, there's like plenty of opportunities to like figure something out. But it's like also I like to just have like a structure so I know.
Yeah. Greece, we kind of did Greece that way. We had an Airbnb the whole 2 weeks we were in Greece. We kept it in Athens, but fucking get this. For like the first time in like 10 or 12 years, it fucking snowed in Athens.
Oh, wow.
So I woke up because I couldn't sleep, and I look outside. It's just sideways snow. It's like a blizzard going, and I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And I jump on Twitter because I just want to see like what's trending over there,
Mhm.
and it's like snow, like just everything is snow. So
And you're like, no shit, I can see that. There's
yeah,
snow.
I was like, okay, like so we kind of wake up later on in the morning, and I was like, "Do you just want to get the fuck out of here? Like, let's just rent a car and leave." And you know, Kay's like, yeah, like, let's go. So we just walked to a Hertz, which was like 2 miles away. Needed literally nothing other than a signature and a $400 deposit.
Yep.
And they gave us this little Hyundai, and we just took off and we road tripped for like the next 5 or 6 days
Oh wow.
around. We didn't go to the southern part,
Mhm.
um, but we just made this huge loop all around the northern part, up into the mountains and everything. And we literally just pick a town and then, hey, drive there, and we'd hang out for a couple days. And then like Kay'd be like, hey, this town has a castle, I want to go see it. Okay. And we'd just go. But it was such a cool
I love
way to
that.
see that
Yeah.
country, and we ended up seeing
Yeah.
um one place we wanted to see anyway, uh Delphi. We wanted to go there anyway, but we went to Patras, which we had no clue was a place,
Mhm.
and then Ianoni, which we had no clue existed. And it's way up in the mountains. It's on this massive lake,
Mm.
and you would have no clue that this place even exists unless you literally Googled
Right.
where's a castle in northern Greece, and this place showed up.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but I don't know. Normally I like to kind of have somewhat of an idea of what we're doing, but
Mhm.
I think it worked out well
Yeah.
that time.
Totally.
We got lost a couple times driving, and we had no.
See, and I don't mind doing that if I have somebody with me, but I won't do that on my own when I'm like not like
Yeah.
that experience is like, no, I don't know if I want to do that.
Hmm.
But I think Andrew and I are probably gonna try to stay. So we have a friend of a friend who has a house in France that said we could stay there for a
Oh,
long period
nice.
of time. Um, so we might try to do that in like August and September in between like all because Andrew doesn't have any races until um like after the Laguna round, he doesn't have another race until like September in New Jersey.
Mm.
So he's got like a bunch of time off. So like, oh,
I think your enthusiasm for coming home again
I
will
know,
be a little different when you kind of have you know,
yeah,
like when Andrew's there.
right,
The rush to get home won't
totally,
be quite as bad,
totally,
and you'll be able to enjoy your downtime a little bit more.
for sure. Yeah, it'll be
So,
like not as like, yeah, not as like un. I mean, not as stationary. Like if I plan to be over there for a long period of time, we have like a plan about it. Yeah, and then
mhm.
Andrew's there, it'll be a little bit different. But
Hey, who knows? Maybe you want to move.
maybe
Yeah.
doubtful. But I don't know, man.
You never say never.
No, but
Never say never.
yeah, it was a little interesting. I mean, I'm like, I got a new job, so I'm working remote now, right? So I have 100% remote job, and like with the 9 hour time difference, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna work from like 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. your guys' time, because really
Hmm.
that's like 3 p.m. to midnight, you know.
Hmm.
And so I was like trying to do that work, and it, like works out kind of nice because it's like, well, when we're riding during the day, no one's bothering me about work stuff. But then also it sucks because then at night when everybody wants to go to dinner and do all the fun stuff, then I'm like kind of
You got
taking
some
meetings
stuff.
and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a
How
little,
is the new job? Because I know
it's
there
good.
was a little bit of contention between your last company.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, you were wanting to be gone more than they
Yeah.
maybe thought you were going to
Yeah,
be
they wanted me
gone.
to be in the office more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like 100% remote now, and I think it's going good. I mean, I haven't done a whole lots of work yet. You know, it's
Hmm.
been like kind of just learning.
We'll edit that out. She's doing
Yeah.
tons of work.
No,
Just kidding. I don't edit anything.
no, 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 no. I mean, it's definitely a learning curve. It's a whole new different type of projects and things I'm working on, and just getting me kind of acclimated to all that. And yeah, I mean, I told my manager I was going to be gone. She knew I was going to be in Italy, and halfway through the week, she was like, "Wait, are you in Italy?" And I was like, "Good." I was like, "I'm glad that you don't think that I'm in Italy." Like, it wasn't obvious that I was in Italy, you know.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "No, it just means I'm doing like a good enough job that like it's not."
Not an issue.
I'm not an yeah, it's not like, "Oh my gosh, everybody's freaking out." So, I didn't tell any of my other team members that I was there. I just told my manager, and then I just told them that I'm working, you know, until 3 p.m. And a couple other people actually have that schedule on a weekly basis anyway. Like there's one guy that says for the past 20 years he's always worked till 3 p.m.
Oh,
He's like, "I only work 6 a.m. to 3 p.m." He's like, "That's what I've always done." He's like, "I feel like if you can do that, you might as well." And I'm like, "Okay."
I work 7 to 3:30.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible and people do it all the time. So, it's not that out of the norm. And
Yeah.
being that the company's like mostly remote, or I don't know that they're mostly remote, but a lot of our team is remote. We do a little bit of coordination, you know, via Teams and calls and things like that, but nobody's really in the office. So,
Any chance of getting them to sponsor some stuff for you, or no?
it was really
They
funny.
wanting to get in the
It was
racing world,
it
or
was really funny because I went to a water conference, so part of my travels. So in the last couple weeks has been hectic because I like where did I go? Oh, I drove down to California to go grab my trailer from SoCal, right? So I drove down. I met Andrew and I met Andrew at his parents, and then we went over to Reno for what's it called? No, I can't think of the name of it. Brain is spacing.
It's okay.
Virginia City. We went over there for the Virginia City race, so we went and watched that. Well, we didn't really watch the race, but we went and hung out and like saw Virginia City. We bought dirt bikes, rode dirt bikes, did all that stuff.
Welcome to the club, by the way.
I know, I'm stoked.
Very happy that we'll be able to now go up into Capitol Forest
ride dirt
and
bikes.
ride.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I now have a dirt bike. Yeah. So I did that. Then I drove down to Chuckwalla the rest of the way, picked up my trailer, stayed in Ventura for a night, and then drove 18 hours straight in one day because my team manager was like, "Hey, can you be in New York on Wednesday?" And I was like, "Sure."
I forgot about that. So what was that about?
Yeah, it was a women's sports conference. Sports Innovation Labs put on a conference about women's sports. So it's basically they have like a whole online platform and things like that to create how do I say it? Like create more visibility and metrics for women's sports. So like people could like basically it was a bunch of Fortune 500 companies and like media and like people like that at this conference, trying to get them interested in investing in women's sports as a whole, like not just racing, but it was everything. Right. So it worked out where like Maddie, my team owner, had got me as part of like on the panel to speak about sports and what I was doing and everything. So it was really cool, but it was a kind of a last minute thing. So I was in SoCal and then I had to drive 20 hours back up to home. And so she told me that on like Saturday. And then I was already planning on not being home until like Monday or Tuesday. And then I was flying out Wednesday at like 2 p.m. or something like that. So I would like drove 18 hours straight because like regardless, I had to take a 4-hour nap and turn right around and go to a flight.
Yeah.
So I drove literally straight home on my own, get home, took a 4-hour nap, got ready, flew to New York for a day, flew back. And then when I was home for however many days, and then I flew to Italy, I think.
This is your life now.
But yeah, it's been chaotic. So
this is your life.
Yeah. But
I would say don't spread yourself too thin.
I know. But it's
the priority is
Yeah.
the racing.
Well,
So
and yeah, for sure.
if
And
that
it's like
starts to get compromised,
we're trying to get the
then-
team money though too, trying to
Yeah.
get support, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean it's fun, it's exciting, but yeah, it's a lot of things in the midst of all the chaos. So starting a new job was definitely hard on top of all of that, but it's been good so far. It's been a really good move because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do all that stuff because I would have had to be in the office, So it is nice to have the ability to just kind of work from wherever, So
Nice.
Yeah, it's been good.
Good deal. I for one am very excited for this season, and I don't sleep very well. I'm usually always awake, especially when GP and World Superbike are going on at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. So I will be staring at my phone, watching you turn laps whenever you are on.
I was gonna say, I think I'm like the first one out and like practice in the morning, so like 9 a.m. whatever time, so like 9 hours ahead. Which I mean, I guess would be like midnight. So it's not that bad, but
that's not too bad. It's usually the races that.
But like, I think they're like an 11 a.m. race or something like that.
Yeah,
so
the races are the tough ones.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like hard for people to watch live.
Yeah. But those of us who care will make it work. We have the easy part. We just get to sit back and watch you perform.
It was cute. I think people are like, one of my friends said that they were gonna do like a viewing party. They're like, "We want to do like a watch party so everybody can watch it." I was like, "Well, it's gonna be like weird times. You're gonna have to like watch it after the fact. Like you're gonna have to make sure that no one gets any spoilers on social media. They just come straight to your house."
I got blocked by. I'll tell you when we get off this. I got blocked by someone and called a very, very nasty name because I don't care about spoiling. I don't care.
I know who you're talking about too. I think.
Yeah, I don't care at all. If you can't be disciplined enough to stay off social media when you know MotoGP is racing, then that's not my problem.
No, because like literally even now, like MotoGP, World Superbike, all those pages post things when they happen, like literally within minutes. Like, so as soon as I go on social media now, like for the longest time I didn't follow any pages that really posted anything, but now I do. And so yeah, I can't go on social media at all, and because it'll get ruined by the organizations. So
and even if you don't follow specific pages, they're associated or they're similar to.
Yeah.
So you're seeing them too.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I don't care.
Yeah. So
I'll spoil whatever.
So you posted it, and then
I'll spoil whatever.
And you got blocked.
I got called a very nasty name, and I may have talked a little shit in the process, but I didn't call anyone any nasty names.
Never.
I know, right? And then I got blocked. So I was
That's
like,
awesome.
whatever.
I love that.
Well, I think. Oh wait. That's the music.
That is the music.
That's the outro.
That is, yeah.
I still haven't figured out how to end this shit yet. This is my 40th episode. I have no idea how to end these things. I have none. They're all a little different. I usually stutter at some point.
I love that.
I have some weird long pause where I'm just like
thinking about what to say. Okay, bye. Click.
Okay, see ya. I don't know.
That's
Maybe
funny.
that is my way of ending these
That's
episodes.
totally, I
It's
feel like
just
at this point, after the 40th episode, that's just who you are.
an awkward,
Yeah.
inconsistent, stuttering.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I know how busy you are. And this was actually kind of spur of the moment. I literally just texted you. Was like, hey, let's do a podcast. I actually had sent you a message when you had like just gotten back. And then I deleted it because I was like, she's probably getting pulled in a million directions. I don't want to bug her.
It's all
But
good. It's all
hey,
good.
I know you're slammed with stuff and it's
Yeah.
only going to get worse
I know.
or better depending on
Yeah.
how you look at it.
No, I appreciate because I need to be able to give an update, so it works out really well.
Well, it works out well for me too because you have a lot of eyeballs on you. And I will take whatever publicity I can get for the Jake Brown podcast, which can be found at God, where can it be found? Instagram, Twitter /X at Jake Brown Pod. You can find all my episodes I post to Twitter. Most of them are on YouTube unless they censored it, like they did with episode 18 because of stupid trademark rules with music. Otherwise, Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, I don't know, wherever else. There may be some other ones. I've tried to get on quite a few other ones, but there's always these delays. And then sometimes I think things just start showing up places. So
I love that.
I don't know. It may be on other platforms as well, but those ones for sure. Where can people find you at again, social media wise?
Yeah, Instagram's Mal Dobbs, MALDOBBS 126, and then Facebook's Mallory Dobbs Racing. So
And
what?
you know you're on Twitter. Don't act like you aren't.
I do have
see
an
you on
X.
Twitter.
Okay, my
I
X
see
is
you on there.
420 followers.
That's okay.
It's not. I don't use X.
Welcome to
I
Thunderdome.
used to use it when I was a streamer, so I had to like delete all the things of like I'm on Twitch streaming, so I had to delete all
yeah.
those from there.
I
and then
think I may
recreate-
have texted you like, "Hey, you need to."
I think you were the one. Yeah, you were the one that was like, "You need to fix your profile," and I was like, "All right, delete all the Twitch streaming stuff." Now I'm a racer. That was good college. No one cares anymore.
Nobody cares about that.
I do still have a Twitch. It still exists, but I don't do anything with
All right.
it. Yeah, and my gaming computer's dead now.
What's your X or Twitter?
I think it's
handle?
Mal Dobbs 126.
Something like that.
I think I kept it the same as my Instagram.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, that is today's episode. I'll be back next week. I just had to restart that song because it's only 2 minutes long. I'll be back next week with another episode, unless I get sick again.
No,
Okay.
don't do that.
That's such worse shit, too. God, I was so mad. I hate getting sick. It drives me absolutely nuts.
Okay, men are the worst at being sick anyway, regardless of who you are. Like,
Well-
all men are just like, oh my God, the world is dying. Meanwhile, women are still
No,
conquering the world while they're
suck-
dying.
I look inward. I just stay home and I'm pissed.
That
I
doesn't
was
feel
more
like,
pissed.
how is that different than your normal operation?
Well, because I couldn't go to boxing.
Mm,
Like I missed some good
Got it.
sparring sessions.
Oh,
Like I was
okay.
pissed.
All right.
I mean, any opportunity I get to get punched in the face,
You just
sign
love
me
that
up.
so much. And I'm the weird one that wants to race motorcycles. Like, all right.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we're both a little sick.
Mhm.
All right, people. Enjoy the rest of your day. The weather will get better starting Thursday.
Let's hope so.
Get outside, get that vitamin D, eat some decent food. Hey, cook some stuff. Stop going out to eat so much, all right? Cut back on the sugar, mix in some fucking vegetables.
Ew.
It's all going to be good. Talk to you all later.
Bye.